I have very mixed feelings about SIFU. One hand, it's honestly one of the best fighting games on the market today. It has huge amounts of flair, it's rewarding for getting the combinations and combos off tidy, it feels good, it looks good, the challenge is there. The challenge may be a little bit too much for some people, but for me, who is always looking for a challenge, it is absolutely perfect. The need to be able to hit your parries off and combo that into new attacks and new parries, and being able to optimize your strategy by comboing in extra attacks with your previously specified combos, it's just everything. It's so much fun to be able to rattle off one combo, block, rattle off another combo, block again, knock somebody down with a separate move yourself around the field so that you can have the highest advantage against your enemies as possible. All of that is so much fun, and it's challenging but rewarding in that aspect. But that being said, there are so many annoying qualities to it. The first of which is the camera. The camera is just awful. It doesn't know where to put itself. The second boss fight has this habit of being super aggressive against you, pushing you against the corners of the stage. And because there are pillars in the way, the camera decides it's going to hide behind the pillars and block the boss from view. So you can't tell what attack he's going to use. You can't tell anything. He just does it and you gotta defend correctly. I mean, you could argue that that's just the case of you aren't good enough to block the attack, so you get forced into a corner. But at the same time, when you're constantly trying to adapt and get better at the boss fight, having every attempt to get battered away by the camera being awful is just not fun. And that's not a single occurrence in the boss fight. It happens consistently throughout the game. If you go up against more than one person, the camera will most likely get jammed on something, or not show you the entire picture, or when you're up against more dudes than one, and that happens consistently, you will get attacked by people that you can't even see. Some chick will come flying in with a flying head spin without any notice whatsoever, no marker off screen. They'll just fly on into sight. They will just fly in and kick you down. Same with people throwing bottles, the same with somebody just attacking you from behind somebody else so you can't see them. The same thing will happen when against multiple guys and they attack you at the exact same time. There's nothing wrong with getting surrounded and getting attacked from behind. The block that you have as the character will block in the direction it needs to, irrespective of where you get attacked from. But when somebody is attacking you from high and another from low, you need to pick one to block and just get hit by the other. There's no choice in the matter. You just get hit. But to be fair, there are very few occasions where this is a huge problem. The camera is a frustration, but it's not the be-all or end-all. The only other thing that did confuse me throughout the entire playthrough is I never figured out what the hell caused units to go Super Saiyan. You'd block them, you'd break their structure, you'd be able to get your finisher off, and then occasionally one of them would just go Super Saiyan. And what I mean by that is that they'd get all their health back, all their structure back, they'd have more health, and they'd be harder to take down. I have no idea what caused them to do this. I know specific units are able to do that, and they're separate from the general pool of drones, but there wasn't any rhyme or reason that I could tell that actually caused them to go Super Saiyan. Sometimes they'd get knocked down, other times they wouldn't. I have no idea. But of course that is easily counterable by just not going for the finisher. Just go to regularly take them out. Hit them a few more times after they go into their stagger, and you're fine. Aside from the camera and actual combat in the game though, there's nothing really to talk about. The story is kind of bland. It basically is just the sticky glue that hangs it all together. You don't really care about the story because you're there for the combat. The detective board is superfluous. You don't really need it. It's just there for collectibles and to flesh out you, the people you're hunting, and the world, sort of. And that's it. The only other thing the game really has going for it is its gimmick, and that's probably the weakest part of the game. When you die, your death count goes up by 1, and you can choose from a selection of skills to start specializing in, adding to your arsenal of martial arts. After confirming what skill you'd like, you revive, adding your death count to your current age, dying at 20 and becoming 21, dying at 21 and becoming 23, dying at 23 and becoming 26, and so on. Every time you enter a new decade of your life, your damage goes up, but your health goes down, becoming something of a glass cannon, until you reach your 70s, where when you die for good. Now, this isn't so much of a problem. I think it's actually quite a smart way of dealing with difficulty. However, with each level, you carry over what age you completed that level at, and your death count into the next level. So if you had a difficult time completing level 2, you carry on into the 3rd level at 68, basically giving you no chance whatsoever at completing it. It's impossible at that point. So you have to go back and repeatedly do it over and over again until you beat that level at a good age and with a good death count. It can get repetitive, and whilst that doesn't matter to me, as I really enjoy the perfective nature of these kinds of games, it can really piss off some people. It's dull and it's boring, and you don't want to be continuously trying your hardest to get a good score on a level that you've already found very difficult. And that isn't to say that repeatedly trying a stage until you completion is a bad thing. It's just the fact that when you do complete it, you're basically barred from playing the rest of the game until you perfect that stage. Perfection in games is nothing new. You complete stages, then go back to perfect them, is what you do in rhythm games. But when you're basically barred from playing the rest of the game until you perfect those first 2 levels or 1 level, it's demoralizing and it's frustrating, and it makes you more likely to drop off the game sooner. Then again, Kung Fu is about perfection and training your life to master it, literally the tagline of the game. So maybe that's the point. And for me, that's exactly how I'm taking it. Regardless of the little blemishes that are in this game, regardless of the annoyances that I think the game has, I think the game is otherwise a ridiculously enjoyable game full of challenge and replayability.
Here's the CEO of Epic Games.
It's the CEO of Epic Games! No, it's her!